Всем привет! Мы создатели школы английского языка My Easy Academy. Мы обучаем детей английскому языку легко и весело. Вы находитесь на нашем YouTube-канале, и именно здесь мы разговариваем со студентами и выпускниками топовых международных университетов. Мы также рассказываем о своем образовании в Англии.
Знание английского дает возможность не только учиться, но и работать в любой части мира. Именно поэтому мы слушаем истории наших гостей о том, что они делают после окончания обучения, и разговариваем с ними о работе в разных сферах.
Мы верим и точно знаем, английский может выучить любой очень легко, и мы докажем это всем. We say it's easy to become fluent in English. Подписывайтесь на наш YouTube-канал, ставьте лайки, оставляйте комментарии, задавайте вопросы, мы на все обязательно ответим.
So, are you for free or paid education in the world?
I am for paid education.
Mm-hmm. Main difference between Greece and your country, Iran?
People are way more relaxed here, I would say.
All right.
And when it comes to education and general life.
Mm-hmm. Another one is practice or education? Or like knowledge?
I would say practice. Mm-hmm. I would say practice.
All right. And then, are you happy with your life, with what you're doing at the moment?
I'm content with it, but I'm never happy enough. I'm okay with it, but it's not enough always. I think there's more.
Always more. Okay, cool.
I could reach.
Hey everybody. So today we're filming a new video for a new season. And I have today as a guest, Albers, a friend of mine. And we're going to talk in this season about different stereotypes surrounding university education. And we're going to see both sides. We're going to see the university student side and also people who maybe chose a different path. They learn in different places and they maybe learn for life. And we're going to see what are the differences, what are the cool things about education and what are the cool things about the other side. So Albers, I mean, apart from being a great speaker, motivator, supporter, and a dated back partner in crime when we met, we can leave this aside, outside the brackets that you are a very agile and courageous learner through life. If not mistaken, you have like a few languages and disciplines in your pocket like that you have learned. Could you share maybe more about your educational background, starting from university or just generally? And like, was your initial passion that ignited your interest in education? Like, and yeah, if you can share that.
Sure. Hi, I'm Albers Mutazedi. And I always had, I was always a very curious person since I was a child. I thought how from things and people, I was just curious how they work, how people operate, how they think, and how things work. And when it came to my education, I come from Iran, and it was kind of an authoritarian, let's say, education system, and which wasn't definitely helpful for a more curious it didn't feed the curiosity of, let's say, the students. It was more of a, this is what it is and this is how you have to work with it. And from then I built up a lot of tension around, so what if do I really not like education? Do I have an issue with it? Or is it the school, or is it education in total? And I saw that I am these questions brought me to a point where I saw that education has a lot of sides to it, and learning in general, and it's a very personal thing, education, and it shouldn't be we're very advantageous in a society that it's so broadly like in a lot of communities have access to education, but it should be like it's a very advantageous thing to be able to educate yourself or generally be educated. And I think that it should come with the fact that someone needs to be curious, somebody needs to have curiosity within them. And I don't think that that curiosity is really nurtured in a lot of education systems. It's kind of depleted for a lot of time. We learn a lot of things, and facts and informations are kind of being put into a lot of people, but we don't know what to do with them. And as humans, we're problem solvers. We're very good at solving problems and making tools, and curiosity brings that out. It brings that out in us. So I think that as long as there's curiosity and there's people who like to basically find out how things work and how they can use it in some way, that would be a pretty good path when it comes to education. And I don't think that's what we're dealing with
at the moment. But like from what I understand, you like started like the beginning of your education was in Iran, and then you moved to Greece. And like you, like, if I remember correctly, you left the country without like finishing university, and then you went to Greece to learn more. Like you entered in Greece university. Like you have experienced different cultures and educations, basically. So I'm trying to say, right?
Yeah. So I first my most of my education, like when it came to like elementary school, middle school, and high school, was in Iran. I spent a year, 2 years in the States in elementary school, and then when I came to Greece, that kind of led me to go to an American college. But I also before that, my plan was to go to Germany and learn in German, because I learned German when I was in high school.
Exactly.
And I wanted to basically continue my higher studies in Germany, which I didn't do because I love Greece so much.
And where was this kind of moment that you realized that what you just said in the beginning, that, all right, so I'm a curious person, but this just doesn't give and provide me this level of information and, let's say, learning methodologies that are connected to practice, right? That's, am I understanding correct?
Yeah. So when it came to education, to continue my university in Iran, I was very well informed on how that goes and how much there's higher education in Iran there's just a lot of information and a lot of like courses that you need to take, and most of them are just like basics of, like, let's say, maths, like physics, chemistry, and it's just like a lot of information that are not headed towards anything. And there's a lot of educated people in Iran. Like most of people in their 20s to 30s have at least a bachelor's degree, and it's not leading anywhere, because there needs to be an institute where, okay, when it's not just the job market, there needs to be an institute where, okay, whatever is being taught in universities, it needs to go to that, like, there's a lot of information, there's a lot of curiosity, a lot of people who are good for doing stuff, but there needs to be something they could put their energy and mind and work to. And because I knew how that works in Iran, I was kind of repelled about it, and I decided to basically have my education in Europe. At first, it was in Germany. Then I decided that since I've been in such a authoritarian, education all my life, I should, be a bit more relaxed when it comes to like going about my education for the next steps. And to be honest, when I had my education in Greece, it was very like calm, and it was very, but I didn't feel like I was doing something,
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah. And I kind of felt that in most places and most people, I mean, at least this is my opinion, I don't think that we really like get something out of university. It's more of a confidence. It's a paper that says you're allowed to do it, the thing that you want to do. Which is, let's say you want to work with a cool company, a cool project, you want to start something of your own. You just need a little push that could be called university degree. And in many places it is good, but I don't think that it serves the purpose of, really like if a lot of people right now can have a good education and a good degree, but they don't necessarily go about asking themselves, what are they really curious about? Where can they be helpful? It's more, where can they get the money so they don't have to worry about it? Which should be included, absolutely, but monetary things should be very like, you shouldn't need to think about them. It should be like something that comes along with how much whatever you progress in. So
Uh,
yeah.
Yeah, that's a very interesting idea, actually. I mean, I have not, let's say, had your story, right? But from what my experience is, that obviously I finished a very, very cool university at a time, yeah. And at the end of the day, I'm like, I have behind me a debt of, let's say, more than 27K pounds. And yes, I just got like a permission, and now I just solved my conflict. What was this that what was it for? I paid. At the end of the day, yeah, I paid for this confidence in a sense, and also a ticket through, to get this position in a sense. Or let's say maybe I didn't need it in the first place, and I could start doing it when I was young. Yeah, I could start working, and then my experience would show it anyway. But yeah, the society just kind of is in such a way that maybe this ticket is needed. And that's what my kind of question leading forward. First of all, I mean, for me, it's interesting to know then how did you go about like learning later? Because at the end of the day, you say like you're a curious person. So how did you fulfill that need generally, if those places didn't then?
So when it came to educating myself, when after university, it was purely based on curiosity. So it was very new grounds for me. I wasn't at first very like, what do I do now? But what really helped me was basically in every basically any like learning point, let's say in any job, there's people who are very, very good at them, people who are extremely good at their job, and they're fantastic at, when you look at them, you get inspired, and when it comes to, let's say, psychology, when it comes to neuroscience, well, these were things that I was personally interested in. And when it comes to basically economy and how money works and stuff like this, were like, let's say, interests of mine. And in these things, I felt like, and I was studying management information systems, so it was a combination of, let's say, IT and numbers and coding with like business side, and I felt like I didn't know anything, even though I went to school. And after like just looking at what these people talk about, like on a normal basis, let's say, what a day-to-day life of someone who is in the industry of neuroscience or data or AI, like how do they, what are they curious about, is completely different compared to what I thought it was. And listening to a lot of podcasts, I would say, where these people explain their how they're moving, what kind of papers they read, and then from that I was like, okay, it's not just them talking about it, it's they're putting out resources where they learn from. So a lot of times these resources are very readily available in the public a lot of times. So they could be on a let's say like on a library website or on a university website. Sometimes they're individual websites where the person who wrote basically the paper has the resources available. And those were extremely helpful in me basically understanding, let's say, newer topics when it came to, let's say, neuroscience, which was something I'm very curious about.
Thank you so much for the comments before and the questions. But actually, like as a side question, I mean, you speak English like exceptionally, even better than me, and I'm teaching it. I'm tutoring, and but how did you learn it? What was your method? Maybe it's better than how I was learning it at school and tutoring.
So I started learning English when I was, well, I did like learn the English alphabet when I was in kindergarten, but second year of elementary school I went to the States, and I just got to, you know, embrace like the whole culture, you know. And I had a lovely teacher and all the other students, and you know, I was like a new kid, you know. I was only good at maths, you know, like, and the other stuff I was just like, I don't get it as much. My English was not that good. I was only, you know, 8 years old. But what I remember very distinctly, the teacher always kind of took turns on the different students reading me a book, basically reading me a book in English. And when all the other students learned Spanish, because that's what they had as their second language, I would go with the teacher, and she would read me a book or basically tell me a story. And what I'm getting at basically is stories are the main vessel of language or communication. And I think that we know stories without language. Mothers, you know, and they dove a little deep into this some time ago when it comes to how do we actually learn culture and how that translates to language. And it's always when it comes to like expression and stories, and that's how we learn a language, because the language is not within itself, it's not useful, it's useful within the culture, you know. So I think that when it comes to learning a language, the more involved you are with it and not try to make it something else. It's like, this is English, and it's, you know, and every part of it is basically how it's used. So you have to find something that you're interested in, and then see, let's say, what there is out there in English, basically. So if you like poetry, find English poetry. If you're into sports, find, let's say, sports in English. Or and this is mostly for people who are their main language isn't English. So whatever you're interested in, whatever you like, and whatever type of community you're into, there's probably a community out there that speaks and talks in English that likes the same stuff that you do. So, and if you get involved with that, you would probably understand English much better and in your own way.
No, that's absolutely what we're seeing with the students, that the kind of speed of learning grows exponentially when we give them what they're interested in, because probably they just see what we give them, but then they are like, okay, we could do this, like we could learn something in English about this topic, and then they probably just go on themselves and learn it outside of our classes. So this is absolutely like a practical thing, you know, like this is what it is learning. It's like that. It's something that ignites inside you, and then you just can't stop.